We're here to take a look at a bicycle. Yes, it's the end of the workday, so forgive me, my brain is a little scrambled at the moment. It's, you know, one of those things, but a bike came in today, an Occam H20 in my new favorite colorway that I have seen from Orbea. But we're gonna take a look at this bike. I'm gonna do a first impression like we used to be able to do before the pandemic kinda, you know, screwed up the supply chain and made stuff really hard to get. I wasn't even gonna do a video on the Occam H20 because there has been some changes, and I wasn't gonna do one because the frame is still identical to the one that was last year. We'll go over some of the frame features. I'll still put that in here. Really what's changed is price point. Some of the specs are a little bit different from last year, but this is still, guys, one of, I think, the best bang for the buck aluminum full suspension bikes in this range. And you know what I say after this whole supply chain issue is if you can find a bike, then that's a good deal. But I'm still gonna do this as if everything was normal. So let's unbox this thing, get it built real quick, and we'll go over it. And then we'll go home. All right, let's see you later. Why would I say see you later? You're coming with me. I told you, brain is fried. Oh geez, it's gonna be bad. So this bike's official colorway name is Anthracita Glitter and Candy Red. This is apparently called Anthracita. To me, this is the best colorway that Orbea has put out. Color is a personal preference, so take that for what you will, but I'm a really big fan of black and red, but this kind of gray and red thing that they got going on, I think this bike is beautiful. I think I have fallen for you. But let's take a look at exactly what this bike is coming with. So the frame on this beauty is an Orbea Occam Hydro high polished triple butted frame. So basically a hydroform frame. What they're referring to are all of the little welds that you see right here. This is in fact an aluminum bike. I know, that's amazing. It reminds me of the old Cannondales from back in the day. They weld these things multiple times, and in between the welds they sand them and they hydroform them. And that's what gives these welds on here this very smooth, almost carbon look. You could lie to your friends and tell them you have a carbon bike and a lot of them would believe you. Where in fact, this is not a carbon bike. This is an H20. Another really cool thing about these bikes, they are actually produced in Spain. If you didn't know, Orbea is a Spanish company. This bike is from Spain. The frame is Boost. It does have internal cable routing, as all modern bikes should. It is an asymmetrical frame design, 29-inch wheels. The shock on the rear end is a Fox Float DPS Performance 3-position Evol. Of course, it is a custom tuned shock. And the fork on it is a Fox 34 Float Performance 140 3-position. Of course, it's a 115 by 110. The crankset is the SRAM Descendant, and it is dub. It's Eagle. All the little goodies on there, like the handlebar, the stem, even the dropper post that they put on here, is proprietary Orbea stuff. It's nice stuff, but it's just the OEM stuff, so it's nothing super fancy. The brakes are the Shimano M61 hydraulic disc. You guys know I'm a fan of Shimano. And this is my ideal setup for a bike. It's got SRAM shifters and derailleurs because I am a fan of SRAM. I love you, SRAM. Even though I give your brakes such a hard time, I prefer your component groups on a mountain bike. Even on the road bike, I just like the harsh click that they give I told you, end of the day, over the buttery smooth that you get out of like Shimano Durace. I prefer that, but that's a, you know, that's like a tomato kind of thing. It's a more of a personal preference issue, but hands down Shimano makes better brakes. because we can really get into the nitty-gritty on which brakes work better and feel better, modulation, that kind of crap, but at the end of the day, I prefer Shimano because they work. SRAM has numerous warranty issues with their brake systems, and Shimano has always been tried and true. So the shifter and the rear derailleur are of course SRAM GX Eagle. Like I said, nice stuff. GX is kind of the lowest end that I want to go. I ran NX for a very long time. GX is akin to like SLX in my opinion. Could you keep it down out there, sir? I like GX because the GX that I have had on bikes last a very, very long time. The NX kinda, it reminds me of like the newer Dior as far as longevity's sake goes. SX, if you have SX, I apologize, but just take it off, throw it away, and put something else on it, because SX, I haven't had a single bike that SX has lasted on for more than, I don't know, 6 months without something catastrophic happening. The wheels are race face AR30C tubeless ready. Last but not least, this bike retails at a whopping $34.59. That is a very specific price point, I guess. I can't recall what the H20 retailed at pre-pandemic, but I'd like to go look that up and just see. So that would be a 2019, I guess, maybe a 2020. I'll look up the 2020 price point over the 2022 just because at least at the beginning of 2020, stuff was still relatively priced the same before crap hit the fan. Dual piston. One knock, one argument, one thing I would change on this bike is it does have dual piston brakes on there. One cool thing you can do though, same levers will operate the four piston brakes. I don't know if that's by design. I didn't really know you could do it, but I've helped people do it. I have known people do it on their own. It works, and it works fine. They work great. So I do recommend upgrading your calipers to 4-piston because a bike like this deserves 4-piston brakes. If you ride this thing, not around in the greater Charlotte area, if you ride it up at Pisgah, Wilson's, DuPont, any of those places, you're gonna inevitably want 4-piston brakes. That's the really big knock to this bike. Really the only big knock I can give to this bike is that it needs a little bit better stopping power. But who really needs brakes? They just slow you down. Oh, the dropper lever that they do provide with this thing, I like that as well. It is Shimano, and Shimano, dude, y'all got a nice little dropper lever. I will give it to you. That thing is rock solid. Oh, also with the frame design, it is asymmetrical. And they also, I've always kind of had this question. So they put this here to really stiffen the frame up. That was with this frame's redesign, but they do offset it. They claim that they have designed it to work well with a full water bottle. They specifically said that in some of the literatures. I always kind of jokingly said, so the bike's gonna ride like crap if you don't have a full water bottle in it. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more asymmetrical just so you can even fit a full water bottle in here, because most people anymore aren't using water bottles. They're using hydro packs or hip packs, lumbar packs, other alternative methods of hydration. But that is what this is for, to stiffen the frame up, and it works. This bike pedals phenomenally. So I've got an Oise, which I love that thing, but if I could only have one bike out of all of them in the world, and they said that you only get one bike, this is it, it would probably be this thing. It's got the right amount of travel where you can do anything, but you're not really gonna feel super hindered on local XC trails. It's spec'd really well. The price point is pretty good for everything you get, even after the pandemic. But I do believe over the H30, I would save my money and buy the H20, because you get a lot. So let's take a look at the H30 really quickly just to see their specs, and I'll get you guys out of here. So the H30 is $3,000 on the nose. The H30 is coming with full Dior. It is gonna be Dior 12 speed, so I like the Dior 12 speed stuff, but the GX is nicer. In my opinion, it's nicer. What you're really gonna get a knock on is that front shock is gonna be a Marzocchi Bomber. People are just being obnoxious. So on the $3,000, you're gonna get a Marzocchi Bomber, the Z2. That is a good fork. I'm not knocking that fork, but if you take what is coming on this bike, so you get the Fox, you get the GX, The wheels on the H30 are also just OEM, Orbea OC1, they're still tubeless ready. So if you just take those 3 items on this bike, let's take the wheel set alone, this race face AR wheel set, that's your money already. So you get a nicer wheel set, you get a nicer drivetrain, you get a nicer front fork on this thing. Those 3 things are worth way more than that $550, and at that price point, only thing I would want to change on this puppy is those brakes and just the calipers, because I love the levers. The levers are the single digit ones. I'm a middle finger braker, so I have to have that style of brake. Again, guys, that is just my opinion. I really enjoy this color, and you can get this color in the H30. I think they also do it in the model above this, the H10 maybe. This is a large frame. Let's take it over here, let's weigh it so we're all on the same page with weight, price, spec. £32 4 ounces, 14.64 kg. And there you have it. That's about what I would expect for an Orbea Occam, if I'm going to be quite honest. That weight really is not that bad for a bike of this stature that's aluminum. But 32 pounds is not anything to bat an eye at. That is not a bad weight. That's not something that's surprising. I didn't put it up there and go, holy crap, that's a lot lighter than I expected it to be. But there are, like, I've weighed some Santa Cruzes that are like full carbon, same geometry as this thing. And those suckers would weigh like 32 pounds. Like 32 is not bad. I'm pleased. I'm happy with this bike. This is the first bike of the 2022s that I've had in my possession, and now you guys have seen it as well. I'm glad that I decided to do this because I missed being able to have at least a new bike in here to show and share with all of you. All right, I love you all. Make sure you stay tuned because the next video is going to be I'm gonna test ride the homegrown that I just built. If you didn't see the old homegrown video, I just built up a 21-year-old hardtail single speed that I'm gonna race in a couple weeks. It's gonna be an experience. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. I love you guys. See you later. I'm going home.